Okay.
Alright, man, so what's going on with you, man? So I just heard you say from Alabama, you know what I'm saying? What part of Alabama you from?
Yeah, for all the new listeners, you know, on rapfootage.com, I'm from Alabama. Gadsden, Alabama is a small town, like east of Birmingham, west of Atlanta.
Yeah.
And basically it's like a blue collar, working class, 9 to 5 hustlers town, you know, like just a bunch of hard working people. I come from a hard working family, you know, a minimum wage family, and you know, I grew up around hippies growing weed, and you know, dope boys, you know what I'm saying, country ass dope boys, you know what I'm saying, and white boys with big trucks and mud tires. So I represent somewhat of a paradox, you know, like you'll see these dudes, you might catch some dude in a trailer park with a Thunderbird.
Yep.
Like, you would think he's stuck in the 80s the way he dresses, you know what I'm saying, but he'll be playing UGK, he'll be playing, you know what I'm saying, he'll be playing 666 Mafia. It's that rebel, you see a rebel flag on a truck and think some dude might be a racist, but he's bumping Lil Bootsy or some shit, you know. It's like,
that's crazy.
To me, it's like, that's what I try to capture with my music, that paradox, you know, that reality, really. And it's a reality that's across the whole country, you know, like small town, working class people, you know, because outside of every big city is just like Gadsden, Alabama, so, you know, and I pretty much represent, you know, small towns.
So who you grew up listening to?
Man, I mean, I grew up around well, I grew up with, my mom was 15 when she got pregnant, and she was a single mom, and she was, I mean, rock and roll by definition, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so I was surrounded by lots of good classic rock. She dated dudes in the music industry that they were real eccentric and kept me surrounded with new music, you know, so, you know, when I was like 6 or 7 years old, I was listening to Paul Revere, but I was in the woods in Alabama, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But just because of the people my mama surrounded herself with, it exposed me to a lot of music that otherwise I wouldn't have heard.
Yeah.
And so I grew up listening to classic rock, you know, even some old honky tonk country, to some just raw hip hop. You know, it wasn't until later in life when I figured out how to make that make sense for me artistically.
Yeah, yeah.
Or really even to define hip hop. When I moved to Nashville later on, and I started going to school down at the school called Carter Lawrence, which was a middle school right in the middle of the projects in downtown.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where I made the connection culturally with hip hop, with the music that I was hearing out in the country. To me, it was just rock and roll. I mean, nobody gave it to me and said, this is hip hop.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just music. You know, I was surrounded by music. But that's why I started really learning how to define hip hop, you know, what it meant to me, you know, how it started culturally making sense to me, you know what I'm saying? And I was super influenced in that way. So, but you know, I grew up on Led Zeppelin, The Doors, Yes, Fleetwood Mac, 10,000 Maniacs, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Hank Williams, Charlie Daniels, Dolly Parton, George Strait, to UGK, Outkast, 666 Mafia, Hieroglyphics, Digging the Planets, Blue Home,
Okay.
you know, like Bush Babies, Black Moon.
Yeah.
I really caught a really good era of hip hop, like the early 90s era.
Yeah, yep.
It's when I really started really getting into it for real, you know what I'm saying? And I consider that a blessing, considering all the great hip hop that was being made in the early 90s.
Early 90s to mid 90s.
Yeah, so like, you know, it kind of translates to my music now. Kind of mixing that up with like what, like, big bass music was heavy in the South, and especially in Tennessee. These dudes would be, it was all about bass. Like, really, you couldn't hear nothing else. So like, they be playing Magic Mike, bass records, just bass, you know,
straight bass.
So Chart Music, the project I put out like a year ago, is pretty much paying like respects to that. You know what I'm saying? And also kind of telling my story, but using that sound and that 808, just knocking shit to kind of, you know, tell the story, tell my story.